What are you choosing? I know we've just celebrated Easter, but let's for a minute just go back to when the Christmas story took place. In Luke chapter 2, verses 37 to 39 specifically, I want to look at a woman called Anna. The Bible tells us about Anna when Jesus was being presented at the temple. The Bible says she had been waiting in the temple day and night to see the coming Messiah. But what I never noticed before was that the Bible says that she was married to her husband for 7 years from when she was young, and then was a widow until she was 84 years old. Considering that most women in the Bible got married around 14, 15 years old, she would have been about 21 when her husband died. That's over 60 years that she was a widow for. Most people in that space of time would have had time to grow bitter, would have had time to mourn, would have had time to turn their back on God, would have had time to think, God's not for me. How could God do this to me? How could God leave me alone for this amount of time? Not Anna. The Bible says that Anna stayed in the temple praying, fasting and worshipping God day and night until she was 84 from the time her husband died. That's over 60 years that Anna made a daily choice to choose to worship God, to choose to praise God, to choose to follow God's plan for her life, no matter what the circumstances were around her. Even though she'd lost her husband, even though that meant in Bible times she was now an outcast, even though that meant now in Bible times she was one of the lowest of the low, instead of choosing to be bitter, instead of choosing to be against God for all those years, she chose to go and pray and fast and worship God anyway, in spite of her circumstances. My question to you is, what are you choosing? In spite of your circumstances, what are you choosing? Are you choosing to still worship God, or are you choosing to listen to your circumstances, to look at what's around you, and choosing to focus on that instead of focusing on God and His promises for you? Sometimes in life we need to make a conscious decision to say, even though this is happening, even though I'm facing that, even though everything around me has gone to pot, I still choose to worship God. I still choose to follow His plan for me. Anna chose to worship God in spite of everything. And look what happened. She was one of the first people to meet and hold the promised Messiah. Who knows what you could have in your life if you choose to worship God, if you choose to believe Him, if you choose to follow Him in spite of your circumstances every day. Sometimes it's a conscious decision. What conscious decision are you making today in spite of your circumstances? Thank you so much for tuning in again to Spark this week. Please share this as widely as possible so as many people can see the gospel for themselves. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next week. Bye.